Հիմա խմբում 6 հոգի ենք, սկզբից 3-ով ենք սկսել։ Երևի մի 600 հատ երևի խաղալիքներ են սարքել ընդհանուր այս 3 տարում։ Հենց որ խաղալիքները վաճառում են, բնականաբար արդեն բավականին գումար է ստացվում, դե արդեն էլ մեր ընտանիքի հոգսերի կարիքների համար ենք ծախսում։
Ոչ մի բան չէի աշխատում, ճիշտ է, սովորած եմ, բայց չեմ աշխատել։ Հետո հետաքրքրեց այս աշխատանքը, ինչքան գործում ես, քո աշխատանքը տեսնում ես, այնքան ավելի ես ոգևորվում, ավելի ես ուզում շարունակես։ Ինձ պիտանի եմ զգում արդեն։
Ես ունեի մի հատ փոքրիկ մեքենա եւ աշխատում էի Նոյեմբերյանի կարի արհեստանոցներից մեկում։ Ես ցանկանում էի ունենալ իմ սեփական կարի արտադրամասը։ Արտադրամասը դրել ենք Բաղանիսում, թաքուստի հյանորոքում, վարագույրներ, սպիտակեղեն եմ արտադրում։ Իմ կարի արտադրամասը սպասարկում է մեր տարածաշրջանի 4-5 գյուղերին։ Շատ հպարտ եմ եւ ուրախ եմ, որ աշխատում եմ եւ իմ սեփական արտադրանքն եմ ներկայացնում։ Դրանից շատ ինձ լավ եմ զգում եւ ոգեշնչված եմ։
Մի 2 կով ենք պահում, արդեն շատացրինք, գլխաքանակ ավելացրել ենք, էլ ենք ուզում ավելացնենք, կթի ագրեգատը որ ունենք, հոգնում չենք, ժամանակ քիչ է գնում, դա մեծ փոփոխություն է։ Եթե ժամանակ 2 անասուն ունենք, 2 անասունը եկամուտ ենք ստանում, հիմա արդեն կարում ենք կթենք, այն ժամանակ հոգնում են այդ 2 անասունը գտել, իսկ մի արդեն 8 հատ գտնում ենք, ինչ կլինի 2-ի եկամուտը, ինչ 8-ի եկամուտը, ինչքան ավելացնենք, ծախսերն էլ մեծանում ու տված եկամուտն էլ արդեն մեծանում։
Մեր տարածաշրջանը ինչ կա, մեկից հետ քիչ-քիչ զբաղվում ենք։ Խաղողագործությամբ, թզի արտադրությամբ, անասնապահություն, ամեն ինչով մի խոսքով։ Դե կոնկրետ այս տարածքը որ կա, առայժմ այսքանը բավարար է զուտ փորձ ձեռք բերելու համար, բայց հետագայում եթե կտեսնեմ, որ արդարացնում է, տարածքը կմեծացնեմ։ Հենց մալինայի մշակությամբ կզբաղվեմ։
Օրեկան ու 250-ից 300 հատ գնդում ենք պերաշկին։
Մամաս վաճառում է, կինս էլ կարելի ասած արտադրեմ, ստեղծում այդ լրիվ։ Ես էլ որ չի հասնում իրա մոտ եմ ունեմ։ Որ լսել եմ, որ այս ձևի ծրագիր կա գյուղում, իշ ճիշտ ընդունել եմ իմիջալյոց։ Չեմ պատկերացրել, որ ասենք տենց բան հնարավոր է, որ ինչ որ մեկը կա ու ասի ես սենց օգնում եմ, դուք ու բիզնեսը դրուք ու գործողությունը կատարել չեմ հավատացել։ Ոնց որ իմ թիկունքին մեկը կաղնած ասի առաջ քյա, ընթացի առաջ, աշխատի։
Դե որ արդեն հեշտ է գործդ, արագ է ստացվում, կուզես ավելի շատ անես, ավելի շատ ցրես, բաց չի որ լավ է աշխատելու քո ընտանիքի համար, երեխեքիդ համար, փող աշխատելը շատ լավ է, որ ինչ ուզենան կարենաս անես։
Կարևորը աշխատասեր ենք։ Դե որ ծրդ էլ կոպեկակյալ է արդեն ուզած քունդ էլ չտանը։ Գիշերն էլ չես ուզում քնես։
Որոշել եմ սեպտեմբերից կամ նպաստից հրաժարվեմ։ Ես այս պայն նպաստ եմ ստանում։ Ես իմ բիզնեսը դրել եմ, համել թող բյուջեը մնա այդ գումարը։
So today we have 2 occasions to celebrate. First of all, of course, we're celebrating the Independence Day in Armenia, the 27 years of independence. But apart from that, we're celebrating the International UWC Day. And the topic of this year's celebration is Inspire Change. And today, all day long, we're talking to different people who make change, who make impact on both on national, local, and international levels. So it's our pleasure to introduce Anna Aghajanyan from Sahman NGO, one of the co-founders of Sahman. who is going to tell us about her work and the impact that Sahman NGO has in the border communities of Armenia. Anna, thank you so much for joining us today. Hi, can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, and I have my colleague Gemma, who is going to join us today as well as the other interviewer. Hi, Gemma.
Hi everyone, my pleasure to be here. Anna, pleased to meet you.
You too, Gemma, nice to meet you. And happy Independence Day to everyone. We've got a double celebration today.
Yes, happy Independence Day. Annajan, do you want to start by telling us a little bit about how the idea of Sahman came and how it was founded?
I'd love to, and thank you so much for having us. It's a real pleasure and a privilege to be with everyone today. It actually, I'll give you some background on how it started because to be completely honest, it started very organically. It was just a group of friends on a very random weekend outside of Yerevan, which we used to do just to get away from the hustle and bustle of Yerevan and actually see the rest of Armenia. Because as everyone knows, the real Armenia begins outside of Yerevan. You get to see how everyone lives, you get to taste the most delicious food, and you get to actually meet some amazing people. So that particular weekend, our group of friends ended up in Tahush, which is in the northeast of Armenia, and ended up in this village called Barekamavan. And it's a beautiful, beautiful village that, along with its beauty and its hospitality, has a lot of issues. Specifically, migration, lack of jobs, and security issues, because it's right on the border. And it was a very emotional day for all of us. It was the first time that we'd been in the region. And on the drive back, which was over 3 hours, we brainstormed ideas, we talked about what we could do, and we came up with a concept that we've stayed true to, which is to go talk to the people in the village, find out what their needs are, try and find the resources to help them, and then implement the project. And that's what we did. And it began with the first 2 greenhouses. And we were very lucky in being able to find the right funding through friends and family. And we were lucky enough that it was coming up to Christmas, so everyone was extra generous. But we knew nothing about agriculture. We didn't know anything about development. So we really started from scratch. And I think that's been the key to our success so far, that we were able to bring in the right people at the right time. So as an example of the very first project that we did, we sort of conquered and divided. When we came back, we knew there was something we wanted to do, but we didn't know what it was. So we got in touch with various Armenian communities in different parts of the world where we were from and where we had friends, and we had a network of people, and they were able to fundraise over the Christmas period. And then here on the ground, we met with consultants from CARD, which is the USAID agriculture branch. And they very generously came with us to the village. They did a needs assessment, they took soil samples, they spoke to the people, got some background, and they suggested building greenhouses. Just due to a number of factors, because the weather was better. They didn't have any arable land, as I mentioned, because a lot of the land around the village itself is under sniper fire. So we needed to make sure that we could do a project that would be beneficial to them, but it would be safe as well. And really, we started with those 2 greenhouses for 2 families, and it snowballed from there, where we now have over 40 greenhouses. We've got almost 200 beehives. We've got over 40 individual family businesses, and I can go into more details on the specifics of that because we've kind of changed direction over the course of the last few years. But really, it all began very organically. It was just a group of friends doing something on a weekend, and we're fortunate enough that we still work in different organizations, but our colleagues and our employees and our friends are very generous with their time and with covering for us when we have to go and we have to be in the specific locations to monitor the project and to implement the projects.
It's actually very interesting how you started talking about the current projects, because I think one of the main issues when we discussed like the impact and the change is to understand how, when you have one starting point, how you end up sometimes being in a completely different direction of what you have initially thought. So like you started with the greenhouses, and as far as I understood, now you have different directions. So
I got the gist of your question. And yes, absolutely. The impact is always important, but I think where we've been very lucky, and the reason that we've been able to do these projects for so long and they've been successful is because everything has been so organic. It's a project that we feel very passionate about. This isn't, we're all volunteers and we all put in as much as we can at any given time. And we've never had a case of, oh, okay, so these are the goals that we want to achieve. So these are the projects that we have to do to tick those goals. Ultimately, we've been able to, accomplish all of those goals, but in a much more organic way. So you begin by talking to the people. The relationship that you have with the beneficiaries and the villagers is the most important aspect of what you do on a daily, on a weekly basis. You talk to the people, you find out what it is that they want to do, you find out what their capabilities are and what their needs are, and then it just goes from there. So you have the concept, you have the idea, then you try to find the right funding, and we've been very lucky and we've worked with some incredible organizations, and the organizations where we've worked ourselves as employees have been very supportive. So, organizations like FAR, AGBU, Microsoft, and everywhere else has been very supportive, and they've understood what we're trying to do and the passion that we have for it. So really, I feel that if you do things for the right reason, the ultimate goals will be achieved just automatically. They will come around naturally. If you do things because you want to tick boxes, it's not worth it. There's no point in doing it. And I think when we talk about our projects, and we always invite people to come and see the villages and see the projects themselves, the genuine, the sincerity and the passion that we have for what we do comes across. So it's been very easy, and we've been very lucky in being able to bring in people who've been incredibly generous with not only their financial donations, but their expertise. So as an example, we knew nothing about agriculture. I have a financial background. I don't know anything about farming. I don't know anything about beekeeping, and neither do my friends that are part of the team. So being able to bring in the right people at the right time with the right knowledge and passing on this knowledge to the beneficiaries is one of the most important. It's one of the key points that we always pay very close attention to, and it goes from there.
Thank you. Anna, you talked about how it is important to start with talking to the people in the communities, how this is the critical part of succeeding. Can you tell more about how it works actually? Are the people always open to your ideas? And when you go to the villages, how does it actually work? How do you start?
I would love to say yes. We walk into a village and we say we're here to do a great project and everyone is on board, but we live in the real world. And not necessarily. What we do is, like I said, it's important to have that one-on-one connection with each person. And most of the time, they see that you're also invested in what you're doing and you're there to support them. So it's even more of an encouragement for them to put in extra hard work to make sure that the project is a success. But I'll give you a little bit of background on how we implement projects. Maybe that'll give you a better idea of how we actually do it. So, we go into the village, we meet with some people, we meet with the administrative heads of the village. We explain to them who we are and what we've done and what our plans are and what we'd like to do. And then we have a community meeting with the rest of the village, giving them enough time to get together. So a week later, we have a meeting with them. We explain to them, again, who we are and what we're doing and what we'd like to do, and we ask them what they want. Once that's done, we help them formulate their ideas. So we go back and we sit down with everyone that's potentially interested, and we help them put together a business plan. We show them how to do market research. We show them how to do financial analysis and to make sure that each of their potential project is viable. We then give them 2 weeks, maybe a little bit more sometimes, to formulate all of this and then submit it to us. So once we receive all of these submissions, that's the most difficult part, to actually go through it. And they have some incredible ideas sometimes, some that are completely out of this world and some that are really exciting and you really want to support them straight away. So we go and we meet with each particular family or each individual that has submitted a proposal, because sometimes it's completely different to read something on a piece of paper, and it's a whole other world when you actually go and you talk to the people and you get their ideas. Sometimes we sit down and we have brainstorming ideas and we help them to formulate the rest of their concept, that things they may have not thought of, and vice versa. They give us ideas that we would never have thought of. So we do that, and then the difficult part is then selecting the right families and the right business concept for the right ideas. We would love to be in a position where we have this endless bucket of money that we support every single project that we come across, but unfortunately, that's not the case so far. So what we do then is we go through their applications and we go through the process and we meet with them again with the selected families, and then we retrain them if necessary, given our local expertise, and then we tap into the network of incredible people that we have, friends, family, colleagues, other people that we've never even met before who just like the concept and they like the idea, and the sincerity of what we do comes across. So we really, I think, one of the key factors is continuous connection with each individual. So we've had projects from as far back as 7 years ago, and we're still in touch with these families. We may not talk to them, and we may not see them for a couple of weeks or months, but we make sure that we are available, or our consultants are available at every step of the way if they ever need additional support. So I think that's kind of the key to what we're doing, making sure that you don't just do something and then leave and never connect with these people again, and they feel again abandoned, which they felt over the course of the last number of years, that you keep this constant connection and go back and keep supporting them. And it's incredible to see, a family of 4 or 5 people that their lives have been significantly changed due to this small support they've received. All they need is support. And we do not, I think one of the important things that I have to mention is we do not believe in the whole concept of charity. There's this cheesy adage that says, you give a man a fish, he will eat for one day, you teach him to fish. And as cheesy as that sounds, it could not be more true. Most of these people, all they need is just that extra push and that additional support, and to know that there are people standing by them if they ever need anything. And I think that's the way to do actual development work. And of course, because this for us is still a project of passion, and this is what we want to do, and the fact that we're all volunteers obviously makes a difference. We'd love to be able to do this on a full-time basis, all of us, because it's the ideal thing to do. The personal satisfaction that you get from it, the outcome that you see, and the changes that it makes to someone's lives. But as things stand right now, we're still volunteering. We have one member of our team who very generously is working on the project on a full-time basis, but the rest of us are still volunteers.
Just for those of our participants who might not speak Armenian, so Sahman in Armenian means the border. And so coming to that idea, and also while explaining the process, you said that you go to the villages, but how do you choose the villages? Do they need to be on the border? I understand that the concept was brought up from the concept of a village that was on the border, but how do you choose the villages? What's the screening process?
Yes, I should have said that. Thank you for mentioning it. Sahman does mean border, and it's the whole concept behind what we do. I think originally the whole concept was that we would work with villages that were on the border that had security issues. There was, like I said, it wasn't just the security issues. There was lack of support for these villages. People were leaving, and the depopulation and the abandonment of the villages was one of the key factors that made us really want to do something. And yes, essentially, we choose the villages that are on the map, that are the closest to the border, that have the most security issues, that have the other issues that we've discussed. But for this particular project that we're currently doing, I'll give you a very quick overview of what we're doing. We're working with One Armenia, which is an incredible organization. I'm sure most of the people will know about them, but for those that don't, they're a crowdfunding organization that work with local NGOs and local organizations. So they're currently working with us and with the Halo Trust. And for us, they've been incredible so far that they have been able to source a lot of funding to help us set up small individual family businesses along the border. So for this particular project, we chose 9 villages. And we did a needs assessment. We went in and we've actually started the first phase. So we already have 23 small businesses ranging from bakeries to agriculture services to hair salons, I think. So next time you're in Tavush, you can certainly get your hair done if you like. So really, I think the selection of the villages themselves has again been very organic. That we've looked at a map and we've looked at the list, the closest villages to the border, but it's the personal connections that we already have, having been in those villages for the last 7 years, that and you see sometimes geographically and demographically the villages may be identical, but it's the people that make the difference. I mean, you go into some of these villages and you don't want to leave on Sunday night. You don't want to go back to work on Monday. You just want to stay there. So it really makes that personal connection with the people of the villagers themselves makes a big difference on the selection process.
Now, when you started, you obviously expected to have some challenges, right? You didn't think that it would be all so smooth and easy and just you just do whatever you've planned. But what happened when you started facing real challenges? Were those challenges the ones that you expected, or did you face challenges that you didn't see coming at all?
That's a really good question, because when you're in the very beginning, when you're so idealistic and you think everything is going to be perfect, there's going to be no barriers, there's going to be no challenges, but we live in the real world and there's always challenges and there's always those that need to be overcome. So I think our biggest challenges were, there were a number, but challenges is what makes life interesting. So I think it just made the projects more interesting. And we were lucky enough to be able to overcome them with the support of the right people at the right time. So for example, as I said before, none of us are agriculture experts, none of us are beekeepers. So although we had the concept, we had the funding, we had the idea and the project, we weren't sure how to implement it. And this is where the network of incredible supporters that we have comes in. So we had people come in and construct the greenhouses, then we had consultants that would come in and help the beneficiaries themselves and teach them how to cultivate the produce from the greenhouses, when it should be watered, whether they were other things that they needed to do. And we were able to facilitate this connection between the beneficiaries and the experts so that they could keep in touch and make sure that they were preempting any potential issues that they had. Of course, there were other challenges. Sometimes we had great ideas, but we couldn't source the right funding. There were weather issues that, there was a problem. Like for this year, for example, it was very rainy and there was very little honey from any of the beehives in Tavush, which is obviously negatively impacting then the family's income, and they have issues resulting from that. So small challenges like that we've had, they were expected, and which is why we were able to kind of overcome them quite quickly and bring in the right people to help along the way to make sure that they didn't turn into significant problems. These were surmountable challenges.
You look very excited when you talk about the project, which is amazing because you see how emotionally you are connected to it. So I would see how you live through, the achievements, but we also live it's also realistic to think that they have been some failures. So how do you know? Or not failures, but disappointments probably. So how do you lead them through? How is it like?
Absolutely. I mean, ideally, I'd love to say that everything has been perfect for the last 7 years. We've had no failures and no disappointments, but that's beyond unrealistic. Some of the failures have ranged from, like I said, weather issues on the agriculture, but then there's the human factor as well, which is very important. I think one of the reasons that we continue to do this is to make sure that people have a sustainable income, and they're able to stay in their own villages. And sometimes you meet some people that are, they say that if they had a source of income in the village, they wouldn't leave, they would stay and they will work their land and they will raise their family in the village. And you do feel very passionate about the fact that you want them to help them stay, and you have a project for them, and you do everything that you need to do. You source the right funding, you implement it, you get them in touch with the right people, you retrain them, you bring in consultants, and at the end of the day, they're not as enthusiastic about it as you are, and they end up leaving. And of course, that's disappointing. But again, people are different, and you work with some incredible people, and then there are those that let you down. But this is life, and if you were, if every single disappointment pushed you back and stopped you doing what you wanted to do, then what's the point? So we've been lucky enough in that we've had some incredible benefactors and beneficiaries that have made it all worthwhile. So the small disappointments are just easy to get over.
It really, really, really fascinates me how you like having full-time jobs, all of you. You went to the community, you saw a problem and you saw a potential way of solving it, and then you just took and did it, while so many of us usually, like so often we see things, we have ideas, but it's probably often the fear of failing it and not actually like seeing how it is possible actually to do stops us from actually like doing those. What was that moment when you thought, okay, this is a great idea, but what was the moment when you decided, I am actually doing this?
That's a really good question. I don't think there was one defining moment. It was just an accumulation of all of the experiences and everything that we did and all of the incredible people that we met. And yes, absolutely. We are all, volunteers, and we work full time in different organizations, but we've all been so lucky that we have all of these supportive employers, and we've got incredible colleagues that believe in what we're doing, and they're, if you need to take time off and go and monitor something in a village, they're always there to support you and help you out. And if there are any projects that they're financially able to support, they always do that as well. So ideally, like I said, we would love to do this on a full-time basis, but there's evenings and there's weekends. And we can either use that time to sleep or to do something that will benefit someone else. And again, Anahit on our team has been incredible, and she has been actually working with Sahman on a full-time basis. So we have one person, and then we have Sose as well, who's with us on a part-time basis as well. So these two ladies have been incredible in taking on a lot of the day-to-day work that needs to be done. And then the rest of us, just, any spare time or any minute that we have is spent on either writing projects or being on the ground and implementing them, monitoring them, or just going and talking to everyone that's there to get new ideas and new concepts. So yes, it's difficult, but it's worth it. And I would highly recommend it.
We have quite an interesting question in the Q&A blog. Someone is asking whether you have been a UWC student.
Oh, I wish. No, and if you'll have me, I promise to come back to school now, but I think it might be a little late. No, I wish I had had an opportunity to study at UWC. I've visited a couple of times, and each time it just blows my mind how incredible the school is and how lucky everyone is to be there. So I hope they appreciate what they have. In fact, one of our volunteers, I forgot to mention, Anna is a student at UWC. She's just started this year, so I hope she's enjoying it as much as I would if I were her.
Anna, can you tell more about the current projects? What is happening right now? What, apart from agricultural projects, if you have any?
Sure. Like I said, the biggest project to date and the one that we're doing currently is with One Armenia, where we're supporting small family businesses. So we get the concepts from the villagers themselves, and we help them, and realize these ideas. But as I said before, we're very, very adamant that we do not believe in charity. So we don't give financial support. We give the support in terms of technical assistance, so equipment, training, expertise, and everything else. And then it's important that they have a component of their own investment as well. So one of the biggest projects that we're doing is with One Armenia now, and that's going to go up to the end of 2019. So that's a long-term project that we're doing for them. We also have a lot of ongoing projects that concentrate on education. So we're working with a number of schools in different villages, and we've set up an engineering lab at the Barekamavan school where the kids can go 3 times a week and they learn coding and animation and robotics and things like that. And we've been very lucky in that we've been able to connect the school in Barekamavan with IB in Yerevan, and they've been able to have these exchange programs, and the kids from the village can come and spend a couple of days at IB and learn new things. And then we retrain their teacher in new and innovative teaching methodologies so that all of this can be invested back into the village. We also have sports classes. So they decided they wanted Taekwondo. So the kids in the school have Taekwondo classes twice a week, if I'm not mistaken. We have English language classes, we have dance classes. So if these kids don't have the range of after-school activities that our kids in Yerevan have, we decided to bring it to them so they don't feel as isolated. And with technology, the connection is always there, and they keep in touch with their peers in Yerevan and even outside of Armenia as well. So we've got educational initiatives that we do with the school. We have recently also renovated and opened a kindergarten in Barekamavan with the support of the International Rotary Club. So essentially, with the support of the local community, we took an old dilapidated building that they had in the village and we renovated it. We also furnished it with the support of a lot of local businesses that donated a lot of things like furniture and mattresses and things like that for the kids. And in fact, the local community is currently, they're starting a fundraiser to help support the kindergarten. So although we have done, the construction and the furnishings, and we've retrained the teachers in the kindergarten, there are ongoing costs that the community needs to bear, and they're working on crowdfunding for it. So if anyone's interested, please go on to our Facebook page or our website, and you'll get all of the information there.
That's actually a very great point you're making. So for those of us who want to help, but who probably could not commit, as much as you do in terms of times and involvement. So what are the options except for donating money? What are the other options?
Well, if I tell you how we met a lot of our benefactors, it's actually quite funny, and it's very, very natural and very organic. People have seen what we do, people that we've never met before. I'll give you an example. 2 days ago, we had a donation from Argentina, from someone that we've never heard of, and we're very thankful for their generous donation, but they literally saw some of the projects that we've done online. And again, 2 degrees of separation. Armenians from around the world always know each other. So a friend of their friend was going to be in Yerevan, and they just passed on this donation, which is going to either go to the school or the kindergarten. That was their request. So essentially, we don't have any big fundraising events, any drives. We've had people donate $5 to people donate $5,000. So really, it's completely up to them. We do have bank accounts that, if anyone's interested, we can certainly give you the information. You can donate if you like. But essentially, it's all been very organic, and people have sent us an email or dropped us a message on Facebook and said, look, I want to support this. For example, the dance classes at the Barekamavan school, we have one donor in the US who transfers the funds needed for that particular initiative, I think every 6 months. We have people, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a financial donation. We have a group of ladies in Barekamavan that crochet little toys. I'm not sure if I think you may have seen that in the video. So, ordering these toys is just another way that you can help support these people in the villages. It doesn't have to be handing over a certain amount of money. It can be supporting them through buying the products that they have. We also helped Tikin Sona set up her own tailoring business, should we call it. So she literally has orders from everywhere, both in Armenia and in the US as well. And she makes these beautiful t-shirts and she makes uniforms for the school kids. So that's another way that, you know, that anyone that's interested can support all of these small businesses to make sure that they're sustainable and to make sure that they feel that they're not receiving charity. They're working for the money that they receive. And I think that's one of the most important things that we feel very strongly about. It should be a case of empowering people rather than giving them something that they feel they don't necessarily. It changes their mindset. You need to make sure that people feel supported and they feel that their work is valued, and that's the only way to do it, as opposed to throw money at the problem, which is the case with a lot of other, unfortunately, organizations. But they're much bigger. They have other goals, and it's completely understandable. Our success factor, I think, is the fact that we are still relatively small. We're very flexible, and we still feel passionately about what we do, as opposed to, you know, thinking of this as a job and thinking of this as something that needs to be done. But just to go back to your question about if you wanted to donate, anyone that's interested can certainly send us a message on Facebook, and we will pass on all of the information. So banking information, PayPal, everything like that.
Do you have any favorite stories, like, about your work with the communities? Anything that you tell people and things that keep you motivated, apart from the success stories themselves, but, like, you know, this emotional moments?
Well, I have many stories, and I'm sure my teammates will have many more, but it's not about the specific stories, it's about the emotions that you get from it. So I'll give you an example. The ladies in Barekamavan who crochet, each one is incredible and unique in her own way, and each one wanted to do something, and they had the skills to do it, and all it took was that one little push, connecting them with, you know, the Women's Resource Center, who then covered their transportation to go and learn how to crochet these beautiful toys. And then it was just us helping facilitate the connection between potential clients and them through whatever it might be, whether it was Facebook or Instagram or just phone calls and messages and emails. So just seeing the difference that something so small has made in their lives. And the first thing that Armenia said to us when the first batch of toys that they made, they said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to buy a washing machine with the first money that I get. And it may seem silly and it may seem ridiculous to the rest of us, but if you think about the fact that that extra income that she's able to bring into her family not only helps support her kids and her family, but it also makes her life easier. So now she doesn't have to spend an entire day, dedicate a full day to her laundry. All she has to do is press a button. So yes, there are lots of stories like that, but it's really the individuals and their approach to life and their positivity and outlook that makes a difference. And then the kids in the school are just incredible. Seeing their faces every time you go, and then, you know, they've learned something new, and they have a robot that's able to follow a line. I think you may have seen that in the video as well. And them being so enthusiastic, and you seeing that, you know, it's great that these kids have a small place to escape to from the harsh realities of their daily life. And that's what makes all the difference. There are no specific stories, but it's the overall feeling that you get when you see the small support projects making a huge difference. And the fact that, you know, we had one of the kids from the engineering lab travel to, and I may be mistaken, but I think it was Poland, to take part in like an international summer camp. And that is a huge, huge thing for this particular child who may not have even been in Yerevan before that. So it's these little components of different people's lives that make up this entire story of why Sahman does what we do and why we want to be able to do it for as long as possible. Ideally, we want to be in a position where none of that is necessary. So we want to be living in a country where it doesn't matter what part of the country you're from, it doesn't matter what sort of background you have all of the opportunities that everyone else has on an equal basis, and these projects are no longer necessary. And I'm sure my teammates look forward to that day, but until that day comes, we'll continue to do these projects and hopefully make a difference to people.
Thank you so much, Anna. And for everyone, again, who wants to help and support, go to Sahman's website and Sahman's Facebook page and learn more about what Sahman does. And thank you again for joining. It's really inspiring, and I think it was a great way of talking to you. Was a great way not only to celebrating the UWC Day, but also the Independence Day of Armenia. Thank you again. And if you have anything to add, or if Gemma, do you have anything else to ask?
Thank you so much. It was really very inspiring, and like you just want to get off your chair and go and do something.
You're welcome to join us anytime. Ladies, thank you so much. It was
You're definitely receiving a lot of emails and messages.
I'm looking forward to it, I promise, and we'll try and get back in touch with everyone as soon as possible. But thank you for giving us this platform to tell people about these villages and the projects and everything else. And we are more than delighted to have anyone join us on any weekend, especially the kids from UWC. You're very close. You're only about an hour away from these villages. So you're welcome to come with us. And thank you again. And this has been a really interesting initiative. So please keep it up.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.